I previously mentioned that I wanted to discuss the topic of mental autonomy as an arm of morality, so today that will be the topic of the video. As a definition, mental autonomy includes the capacity to impose rules on one's own mental behavior, to explicitly set goals for mental action, and most importantly the ability for inhibition or termination of ongoing mental processes and subsequent physical actions. What humans have contrived as morality has always ignored the physical factors behind things. We believe each human is personally responsible for their actions, and believe them to be aware of their decisions. We place all human beings on the same sort of metaphysical plane on which we judge their actions as immoral or immoral. In this process, all nuance is ignored, and all neurological variation is ignored too. Society has created the status quo of morality, not to be grounded in truth, but as an easy lie to keep society together. While it may be productive in terms of punishment, it will not solve the ground cause. The human system is a unique one in the order of nature. It is positioned between the raw, primal elements that kept man alive before and navigating the artificial, constructed world we now live in. Because of this process, which is not yet complete, the individual capacity for self-control, which is mental autonomy, is highly variable. In a theist sense, or even an atheist sense, what is described to be evil is primarily the result of a lack of mental autonomy or awareness. Christians like to believe that all humans are blessed with self-control or awareness over their actions. If this was true, Wakanda would be real. The intelligent higher mind should lead all actions, and a primitive hominid mind should not. It is not just as simple as this dichotomy, but I like to think about it in the sense of movement between the lesser and greater. Most humans are stuck in an in-between limbo of this state. They're stuck between short-term escapes and the interests of the higher mind. The most important thing for an intelligent individual is to evolve and keep moving. You only lack control when you lack awareness. If one were to describe evil in the simplest sense, it would be chaos. It'd be everything order is not. Chaos is brought about through those in control lacking awareness. In modern society, we give responsibility to those who cannot control it. This is a physical limitation, not one that can be meditated on or brought about through watching videos online. Some people are physically incapable of self-control, and don't have the self-regulating observing element to begin with. If this idea is brought to its logical conclusion, it will be seen as monstrous, because what it means for society opposes the modern way of thinking. That we can take a person whose sensibility is one which destroys everything around them and groom them to be in our so-called moral ways of living, becoming an orderly, respectable person, is a delusion and can never be. This idea forces the human to face the reality that we are not equal, and the variance in evil and capacity to construct rather than destroy is based on the physical realities that are largely genetic and influenced by the environment. The great man does not throw his values away at the first sign of pleasure, not because he knows any special philosophy, but because this is his innate capacity. He can stand up to the draw of pleasure. The unfortunate reality is that most people are not programmed like this. Negative patterns, such as acting when you don't want to act, can only exist where mental autonomy is lacking to some degree. We believe it makes sense to give those with different self-control the same responsibility. This poorly prescribed responsibility is the reason for the decline in modern times. Humans have always acted like a hive, and the most intelligent have always been exceptions from the group, but we're devolving due to genetic changes and big business hijacking the visceral mind of man to be a slave to what they want him to be. If one views the world from the perspective of this individual variance, they will see that nearly all evil comes from those who lack mental autonomy and the control of their actions, and the evil still exists because we treat these people as equals. There are many who are in the position of desire for control of their actions, but who have a perennial internal power struggle between their limbic and higher mind. This is a poor way to live, as one does the same actions as the one lacking awareness, but can't even enjoy it in the moment. To be disconnected between thoughts and actions is torturous. To desire mental autonomy where it does not yet exist is to go against your innate biology. The question is, what are you willing to do to get it? In many cases, self-control is more important than general intelligence. To be able to trust your own word, to do things when you set out to do them, and to not sabotage yourself through your own dysregulation is a blessing. I say mental autonomy is an extension of morality because mental autonomy is an extension of order, albeit being in the human system. It is a different, much larger topic, but the most accurate metaphysical definition for moral good is simply put, order. That which creates order is good. That which creates disorder is bad, except for the special case of rebuilding an existing system. If you observe society and the chaos within it, you can look at what created such events and the mental dysregulation that created it. Would it exist if the flaw in the individual was attenuated? To solve the problems of society, addressing society is the wrong approach. You address the individual. You look deep into them, why they do what they do, why they act how they act. If you solve the individual, you solve the problems of when an individual is put together with someone of their likeness. By extension, I propose that evil, or what could be considered evil, could largely be attenuated through a shift in human nature. If over time human nature gravitates towards both intelligence and mental autonomy, it will eradicate the deprived individuals which still detriment the world around us. But to deconstruct what already exists, ironically requires chaos.